Hey everyone, welcome back to Cheesy Real Vlog. If you're new here, I'm Cheesy, and today we are going to be diving into some of the most dropping moments from the Michael Jackson on Magical Moon Tour. I guess this is like on the interview of Michael Jackson, and I want to see how today's reaction of food. Right, let's hit it. Remember, my reactions are totally unfiltered, so you are in for a real treat. This reaction video was suggested by Richard on the link on my bio, buy me a coffee. So if you want to suggest a music for me, just click on the link on my bio, buy me a coffee and suggest a song, or send me an email directly to my email and we can get this rolling. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you will never miss a reaction. Alright, let's not waste more time. Let's get right into the video. The year 2023. This is a relevant video, like everything. Switzerland.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eve Zarifa with Channel 11, bringing you a world-exclusive interview with the most elusive superstar in the history of music, the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. I'm here inside Michael Jackson's chalet home in an undisclosed location deep within the Swiss Alps. For nearly 15 years, since the completion of his record-breaking This Is It tour, Michael Jackson has not granted an interview, nor been seen in public. Tonight, his silence is broken. Tonight, Michael Jackson will reveal himself as he has never done before, and will, I hope, continue to surprise, enlighten, and entertain us. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Jackson, the King of Pop.
From ground zero to the moon. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Eve. Thank you for asking. I'm doing very well.
I suppose we should get the obvious out of the way first.
Sure.
Let's get the elephant out of the room.
Right. Well, I'm wearing a mask because my face is disfigured. This isn't a publicity stunt. My face is badly disfigured.
How badly?
Very badly. You know the old Phantom of the Opera movie from 1920s?
Sure.
Well, I look worse than the Phantom with his mask off.
Really?
Really.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. I'm doing very well. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be who I am. I've never had so much fun in all my life. That's the truth.
May I ask what caused your disfigurement?
Oh, there were a number of different causes that sort of all happened at the same time. We could talk about my medical details if you like.
Maybe later. Is the mask real gold?
Yes, it is. Well, it's gold-plated. Solid gold would be way too heavy.
It's very nice.
Thank you.
Well, now that we've got that out of the way, do you want to start at the beginning?
Sure. Let's start at the beginning. Well, my name is Michael Joseph Jackson, and I was born in Gary, Indiana, the 7th of my parents' 9 children. My father, Joe Jackson, worked in a steel mill and also played in a local R&B band.
What did your mother work as?
At the time, my mother worked in a department store. My mother is a saint.
And you lived on Jackson Street, right?
Oh, yeah. We lived on a street called Jackson Street, coincidentally. Imagine 9 kids living in a 2-bedroom house. We had to wait in lines to take baths.
11 people is a lot for a 2-bedroom house.
Yeah, our family's house in Gary was tiny. But at the time, it seemed much larger to me.
Did you have many friends?
I didn't have friends when I was little, My brothers were my friends. I had some great times with my brothers. We played in the snow, had pillow
Family
fights.
science amazing, right?
It got pretty rough sometimes.
At what age did you officially join the Jackson 5?
I guess when I was around 5 or 6. But I'll tell you what I usually say to people when they ask me about the early years of the Jackson 5. I was so little that I really don't remember much about it. I just sang and danced, and I didn't understand why people were applauding and clapping and screaming. I really never thought about it. I just did it, and it came out.
And at the time, your father was your manager, right?
Yeah, he spent a lot of time and money working with us. He'd sit at home with us every day after school and critique us. If you messed up, you get hit. Sometimes with the belt, sometimes with a switch. Marlon was the one who got in trouble all the time. He was very strict, very hard, and very stern. Well, he mellowed out a lot. He was tough, the toughest person I've ever met. I hate to judge him, but I would have done things a lot different as a father. I never felt love from him.
But you felt love from your mother.
Absolutely. My mother always made sure that all of her children felt loved. My mother is a saint.
And your mother made all your comments, right?
Right. When we performed a talent contest, we really looked amazingly professional. Really amazingly professional.
What songs did you perform?
We did songs that people knew from the radio or songs my father knew were already classics.
For example?
Well, we won the citywide talent show when I was 8 with our version of Temptation's song, My Girl.
What do you remember about the 60s?
Well, we came in the tail end of the 60s. I'm a child of the 70s. But I remember what we were wearing, kind of like dashikis and bell-bottom pants. And I just remember the love from the public was very great and accepting of what we had to offer. It was wonderful. There's a lot of wonderment in being famous. I mean, you travel the world, you meet famous people, you go places, it's great. But then there's the other side, which I'm not complaining about. There's a lot of rehearsal, and you have to put a lot of your time and give a lot of yourself. I remember going to the Motown record studio, and there was a park across the street, and I'd see all these children playing. And it made me so sad that I would have to work instead. I just stared at them in wonder. I can't imagine such freedom, such carefree life. So there were sad moments in my childhood.
Was there anything that you found gratifying?
Was there anything that I found gratifying? Well, being listed in the Guinness Book of World Records, that was very gratifying. Here's the thing. Ever since I was a little boy, I have dreamt of creating the biggest selling record of all time. I remember going swimming as a child and making a wish before I jump into the pool. I'd stretch my arms out as if I'm sending it through right into space, and then I'd dive into the water. And I believed that it was possible. So when Thriller became the biggest selling album of all time, it was listed in the Guinness Book of World Records. And that fact even appeared on the cover the way I imagined it. I was so happy, you have no idea. I felt on top of the world.
But was there anything from the early years of the Jackson 5 that you found gratifying?
Well, I used to watch a Jackson 5 cartoon. It was so much fun being made into a cartoon. It was like a fan.
Hold on. They had a Jackson 5 cartoon. And I'm not aware of that. I wonder how I was like back then. I'm gonna check that out very soon. But for me, they had a Jackson 5 cartoon. Okay, that's just crazy.
Fantasy come true. We didn't have to do anything. They just animated us and used our songs off the album that we recorded. I think I felt more special about that than any of the awards and hit records. Have you seen the Jackson 5 cartoon?
I've seen the first episode.
Did you like it?
I did like it. Very creative, an apocryphal origin story of the Jacksons.
I'm gonna see that
Right.
cartoon.
It all started with the snake.
That's for sure.
Do you remember how you really got signed to Motown?
I actually remember the Motown meeting quite vividly. I remember Barry Gordy sitting us all down and saying that we're going to make history together. It was like a fairy tale come true, listening to this powerful, talented man tell us we're going to be very big. Your first record will be number 1. Your second record will be number 1. And so will your third record. This is almost unheard of in those days, but he was right. I Want You Back was released in November of 1969 and went straight to number 1. Our next single, ABC, came out in March 1970s and also went to number 1. And well, I'll Be There was our real breakthrough song. It was the one that said, "We're here to stay." It was number 1 for 5 weeks.
So Diana Ross didn't really discover you first.
Right. But she was incredibly supportive. Our first album was called Diana Ross Presents the Jackson 5. She helped take care of us for more than a year while my parents sold the house in Indiana and looked for a house in California.
Did you like moving to California?
To come from a part of Indiana which is so urban and often bleak, and to land in Southern California was like having the world transform into a wonderful dream. We were all struck by California. Trees had oranges in the middle of winter. There were palm trees, beautiful sunsets, and the weather was so warm. And we were all over the place. Disneyland, the beach. My brothers loved it too. In the early days, we were all together all the time. We'd ride horses or watch movies. We did everything together. As soon as someone said, "I'm going swimming," we'd all yell, "Me too!" The separation from my brothers started much later, when they began to get married. They got married young to get away from my father. So yeah, every day was special. I'd be doing something that was fun, and I wouldn't want it to end. Those were magical days.
What happened later that was just as enjoyable?
Well, in 1972, we began our first overseas tour with a visit to England. And while we were there, we met the Queen of England. This was very exciting for us. I've seen photographs of the Beatles meeting with the Queen, but I never dreamt that we would get a chance to play for her. The Royal Command performance remains one of the greatest honors of my life.
Did you like England?
Absolutely. England was different from any place I've ever been before. But the further we traveled, the more exotic the world looked. We saw great museums of Paris and the beautiful mountains of Switzerland. In all of these countries, the people had heard of us and liked our music. It didn't matter to them what color our skin was or which country we called home. If I had ever needed proof that all men could be brothers, I certainly had it during that tour.
When did you leave Motown?
18. We had so many ideas we wanted to try out, but they were convinced that we shouldn't fool with a successful formula. Once a reporter asked a Black Power question, and the Motown person told him that we didn't think about that stuff because we were a commercial product.
What does that even mean, a commercial product?
I'm not sure, but we winked and gave the power salute when we left, which seemed to thrill the guy.
Was it difficult telling Barry Gordy?
It was one of the most difficult things I've ever done. We both talked out of anger, but we became friends again. It was Barry who said he hoped I'd audition for Motown's The Wiz.
And Jermaine stayed with Motown, right?
Right. Jermaine stayed with Motown. He was Barry's son-in-law, and his situation was more complicated than ours. And so then Randy officially joined the group and took my place as the baby of the band.
And you had to change the name of the group, right?
Right. We're no longer known as the Jackson 5. Motown said that the group's name was a company-registered trademark, and that we couldn't use it if we left. So we called ourselves the Jacksons, which is actually our original name.
And that's around when you did the Jacksons Variety Show.
Yeah, I hate doing the television show. We had to dress in ridiculous outfits and perform stupid comedy routines to can laughter. It was so fake. I'm not a comedian. I'm not a show host. I'm a musician.
When did you find your own internal direction as the Jacksons?
By the Triumph album, we definitely found our own voice. But it was destiny that gave us the final burst of energy we needed to put together a perfect show with no marginal material. I'm proud of the Destiny album. It's too bad it got overshadowed by Off the Wall.
How did you get involved with Quincy Jones?
Well, I didn't want Off the Wall to sound like outtakes from Destiny. That's why I wanted to hire an outside producer. And so, Quincy Jones proved to be the best producer I could have asked for. I love Quincy Jones. I really do. He's a genius.
And Off the Wall was your first solo album since you left Motown.
Right. Don't Stop to Get Enough was the first song I wrote as a whole. That song was my first big chance, and it went straight to #1. But even though Off the Wall was a huge success, it received only 1 Grammy nomination. So I was very disappointed with the way it was accepted.
And you didn't attend the Grammys that year, is that right?
Right. I watched the ceremony on television. It was nice to win in my category, but I was still upset by what I perceived as rejection of my peers. That experience lit a fire in my soul. All I could think of was the next album and what I was going to do with it. I say to myself, wait till next time. They won't be able to ignore the next album. And Thriller pretty much spawned from that.
What was the goal of the Thriller album?
What was the goal of the Thriller album? Well, people used to do albums where you get one good song and the rest were B-side. I say to myself, why can't there be a pop album where every song is great? So that was my goal of Thriller album. I wanted to be truly great.
Was it a lot of work making the album?
Absolutely. Making the Thriller album was very hard work. But it's true that you only get out of something what you put into it. I'm a perfectionist. I work until I drop. Eventually, we came under tremendous pressure from our record company to finish Thriller. When we finally listened to the tracks we were going to hand in, Thriller sounds so crappy to me that tears came to my eyes. I felt devastated. All this pent-up emotion came out. I got angry and left the room. I told my people, that's it. We're not releasing it. There was a bit of yelling and screaming from the record people, but in the end, they were smart and understood. Because I knew it was wrong, the record would have been terrible. You simply have to take your time. The sad truth was I had to redo the whole thing, mix the entire album all over again. We took a couple of days off, drew a deep breath, and stepped back. When we finished, there wasn't any celebration that I can recall. We didn't go out to the disco or anything. We just rested.
Were you at least pleased with the finished product?
Well, I'm never pleased with anything. I'm a perfectionist. It's a part of who I am.
Really?
Well, considering the amount of work I put into a project, I'm never pleased with anything. People just see the outcome of work. They never see the side of the work you go through to produce that outcome.
Sure.
When I have a great idea, I have an iron will.
Were the music videos part of the original concept?
Yes, the 3 videos that came out of Thriller, Billie Jean, Beat It, and Thriller, were all part of my original concept for the album. You know, why work so hard on an album and then produce a terrible video? I remember the first time I saw MTV. My brother Jackie came and said, "Are you watching that show on TV?" All they do is play music. I put it on, and I thought the concept was very interesting. I thought if I were going to do one, I would do something with a little entertainment value. Something with a beginning, a middle, and an ending, like a short film.
What was the goal of the Thriller video?
My main goal for Thriller's short film was to do something that would be scary and exciting.
What about the Beat It video?
The Beat It short film is another concept I came up with. I wanted real gang members, so we round up some of the toughest gangs in Los Angeles and put them to work on the video. It turned out to be a good idea. The effect is menacing. You can really feel the experience of the streets. You know those kids are tough. It was nothing like actors acting.
Were you scared?
Maybe a little at first, but we came to realize very quickly the gang members were actually very polite and humble. During breaks, they all cleaned up and put their trays away. It was very sweet. They're a nice bunch of guys. Like all of us, they just wanted to be seen. I've always wondered if they got the same message from the song that I did.
Is it safe to say you knew the Thriller album was going to be a hit?
Yes, not to be arrogant, but yes, because I know great material when I hear it. I'm a visionary in that sense.
Needless to say, you attended the Grammys that year.
Right. I had gotten a record 13 nominations for Thriller. Man, what a feeling to work so hard on something, to give so much, and to succeed. I felt like a marathon runner breaking the tape at a finish line. That's the realization of a dream. That's powerful stuff.
Oh, that's powerful.
When we walked in, we got a huge applause. People were really excited. Everyone involved with Thriller was floating on air. It was wonderful. All evening, I've been going up to the stage and collecting awards with my sunglasses on. Finally, when Thriller won the best album, I went up to accept it and I took off my glasses. And the girls in the back row just went crazy.
Why did you wear sunglasses in public as often as you did?
Well, I wear sunglasses in public as often as I do because I simply don't like to have to constantly look everyone in the eye. It's a way to concealing just a little bit of myself.
So you won a record-breaking 8 Grammy Awards.
Right. And after all that, then there was the Victory Tour. I did 55 shows with my brothers over the course of 5 months. And the world was just getting really, really wild at that time. It was the biggest tour any group has ever done, in huge outdoor stadiums all over America and Canada. We wrote records everywhere we played. Madison Square Garden, the Montreal Olympic Stadium, you name it. I felt on top of the world in those days of victory. At moments like that, I feel so honored, so happy, it makes all the work seem worthwhile. The Victory Tour was one of the greatest pinnacles of my success. It was just a phenomenal pinnacle. My dreams had come true.
With that, let's take a short break and be back with more of Michael Jackson, the King of Pop.
And they're coming together to rumble, to fight. And my objective is to, I'm telling them, turn the other, I mean, don't fight, turn the other cheek. I mean, it's your brother you're killing. And, I do it in aggressive beat and rhythm and dancing and everything.
You got real gang members there, too.
Yeah, we have real gang members integrated in with dancers. We got lots of real gang members in there.
Do crowds worry you?
Not on tour. I get afraid.
With the little that I've heard so far, I must say that Mike doesn't have a great childhood. I don't know, very weird childhood growing up. It didn't seem like a normal way of a child growing up. It just seemed like he was just out there in the world, always out there. And that was not the kind of life a child should be exposed to. Like, no time for himself. He's always in this show, music tour, and all this. And it just felt like That was a lot to take in. I don't know, picture my life that way. I feel like that was too chaotic to me. I don't know about what anyone would say, but I feel like there's so much going on for a little boy. He need his time out. He need to, I think it was more with the adults, and he grew up so fast. So much exposure with adults make you grow up so fast that you don't actually have a childhood. Like that's just literally what I'm getting from this short, or I think it's 20-second, 22 minutes video so far. I just feel like he never had that me time, and it was all entertainment, showbiz, music, and so much drama. I I would not wish that for anyone so much. He needed to grow up, as every stage in everyone's life had some significance, and his childhood was screwed up with all this noise. Like I could just picture myself, even as an adult, I don't like to just go out in so much noise. It gets so chaotic that I want to just go hide. And looking at the fact that he's someone that wears sunglasses, you could tell that he's actually a shy person, because someone that don't actually like you to look into your eyes, like I don't. So I'm like, I don't talk to you and just look straight to your eye, because I don't like you looking to my eye. I feel like you could tell everything about me by just looking to my eyes. Growing up, I just didn't like that. So if I could really, really put myself in his shoes, I would feel that at some point he just needed quiet. Like, can I just take a break? So he couldn't get that. So he could just put on the sunglasses and be like, okay, no one could tell, no one could tell that I'm going through hell and shit. And I could just put on sunglasses. And trust me, I used to love sunglasses a whole lot. I still love it, but it always hurt my eye because it was cheap and fake. So I always had this sunburn on my eyes with sunglasses on. It was too cheap. I couldn't afford the expensive one in Africa. So hey, so I except until I actually got the expensive one, which I was able to afford, and I didn't have to. It's broken, so I can afford that anymore. So I'm back to the white sunglasses. So let's go right in the video. So far, I'm enjoying this whole interview, though it's not actually. I don't know if it's just like as Michael Jackson talking, because reflects so much, and I'm enjoying it. I don't know about you. So if you're enjoying it, just want to click the subscription link and like, and also don't forget to like and comment down below what you think about this video. So far good, and so much about this video. So let's go right into the video.
Well, I don't know people. I get afraid of people sometimes. I don't. It's a whole other life that I haven't really experienced that. Like friendship is a thing I'm just beginning to learn about. I was raised on the stage, and that's where I'm comfortable. And everything else is like foreign to me. I'm just beginning to know, learn about people, friendship, and
You can have a me time.
So you never really hit the
Go
streets.
out there.
I know nothing about it.
Okay.
We're back with more of Michael Jackson, the king of pop. So what were you saying about the media?
Well, the minute I started breaking all-time records, the media started turning the public against me. Almost overnight, the press started printing these outrageous lies. He sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber. He wants to buy the bones of the Elephant Man. He's gay. He's wacko. Anything that turns people against me. None of these stories are true. They're totally fabricated. The press has made me out to be a monster, this crazy person. I mean, why would I sleep in a hyperbaric chamber? They just simply made it up.
Sure.
They're the ones who are crazy. They're ignorant.
And there was also a story about you wanting to have a little white boy playing you in a Pepsi commercial.
That's the most ridiculous, god-awful story I've ever heard. I mean, why would I want a white child to play me?
I suppose the implication is that you want to be white?
That is complete rubbish. I am a Black American. I'm proud of my race. I'm proud of who I am. I have a lot of pride and dignity. I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of my skin. It's not something that I can control. I have vitiligo. It isn't nice to criticize someone for something that is natural and God-given.
How do you respond to false reports?
It has made me realize when you hear a lie often enough, people start to believe it. I mean, I wish there was a way to totally get rid of those kind of things. I used to always say to my fans, let's have a tabloid burning. Let's make a big mountain of tabloids and burn them all.
Really?
Sure, why not? The real fans know that tabloid garbage isn't true. They know they're smart. Some of them try to disguise themselves, but they're still tabloids.
Can you tell me about Neverland?
Well, Neverland appeals to the child inside every man, woman, and child. It's a place where you can return to your childhood. Neverland is me. It represents the totality of who I am. It really does.
Can you tell me about Neverland, the physical place?
It was just a fun, wonderful place to be. So much to do. An amusement park, a movie theater, unlimited space to play games, climb mountains, ride horseback, all kinds of fun things.
It seems like you put a lot of thought into it. Before you get to the house, you pass through these tattered ranch gates, right?
Right. You pass through these tattered gates, so psychologically, you really feel like you're coming to a ranch. So when you go around the bend, I wanted to change to Technicolor, like the Wizard of Oz does from black and white.
Sure, with all the rides and the carousel.
Right.
And get some sunglasses too.
Is it safe to say it gave you a chance to do what you couldn't do when you were little?
Sorry, I'm just.
For me, and for sharing with others. Every 3 weeks, we entertain all these sick children, unprivileged children, children who haven't been on a carousel, who haven't pet a horse or a llama, never even seen them. So if I can open my gates and see that bliss, an explosion of screaming laughter, I say, thank you, God. I feel I've won God's smile of approval because I'm doing something that brings joy and happiness to other people. Other men have their Ferraris and their cars, or...
I'm gonna pause this video. I literally. Sorry, I had to pause that. I'm much better now.
whatever they find their bliss. My bliss is giving and sharing and have simple, innocent fun.
Is it safe to say you can relate better to children?
Yeah, I relate to them much easier. They don't come with all the baggage and stuff. They just play. They just want to love and be loved. When I see children, I see the face of God. That's what I see. That's why I love them so much. They saved my life. I'm not joking. They saved me. I have such concern for the plight of children. I feel their pain. I really do.
Do you think your concern for children is a result of you having a perceived non-existent childhood?
Maybe. But today, it's not just child stars that have suffered from a non-existent childhood. Today, it's a universal calamity, a global catastrophe. Childhood has become the great casualty of modern-day living. Children are constantly encouraged to grow up faster. Scores of children worldwide are being denied the joy and security of childhood. A child's mind needs unconditional love and the nourishment of magic and wonder.
Sure.
They need the world's awareness. And if I can be that light, that pedestal, just to shine some light on who they are and the importance of who children are, I really think it's my job to help them. I think it's my calling. I don't care if people laugh or what they say. Children don't have a mouth to society. I feel that is something really, really in my heart that I'm supposed to do.
So tell me about We Are the World.
Well, We Are the World is one of the most favorite things I've done. I was proud to be a part of that song. I think it's a very spiritual song.
What was the goal of the Bad album?
Well, The Way You Make Me Feel and Smooth Criminal are simply the grooves I was in at the time. That's how I would put it.
Were you pleased with the Bad album?
Well, it's tough because I'm competing against myself. But I was satisfied with what we achieved.
Do you enjoy performing?
Absolutely. I love it. If I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't do it. I do it because I truly love it. There's no greater bliss than dancing and performing. It's like a celebration. And when you're caught up in that place where certain performers go, it's like being in a trance. Certain performances, like the Motown 25, when I did the moonwalk for the first time on stage, I just remember opening my eyes at the end of the piece and seeing a sea of people standing up and applauding. I was surprised because I was in another world right in the moment. You're connected to a higher source, and you just go with the moment, at one with the moment. And the audience is up there with you. The audience plays off that. There's like a telepathy going on, like fish swimming in a school. They're on the same line.
Sure.
You're above it all. It's gone. The point of no return. It's so wonderful. It is divine. It is pure. It is revelation. It's a divine energy. Some people look down on it. Religions sometimes look down on it because they try to say it's demonic. It's the devil. It isn't. It is godlike. It is pure godlike energy. You feel God's light.
So it's safe to say you're still very religious.
Well, it depends on what you mean by religious. I believe in God. Absolutely. I believe in God very much.
But you're no longer part of the Jehovah's Witness Church.
Right.
What was it like being raised a strict Jehovah's Witness?
Well, going to Kingdom Hall was a treat. It was a chance for me to be normal. The church elders treated me the same as they treated everyone else. I was Brother Jackson, simply human, sharing a day with God.
Did you do anything special on Sundays?
Sundays were my day for pioneering, the term used for missionary work that Jehovah's Witnesses do. We would spend the day in the suburbs of Southern California, going door to door, or making the rounds of local shopping malls, distributing our Watchtower magazine.
Really?
Yeah, I would don my disguise of a fat suit, wig, beard, and glasses, and head off to the shopping malls and go door to door in the suburbs.
Really?
Yeah, the funny thing is no adult ever suspected who this strange bearded man was, but the children, with their extra intuition, knew right away. By the second round of shopping mall, I would find myself trailed by 8 or 9 children, like the Pied Piper. They would follow and whisper and giggle, but they wouldn't reveal my secret to their parents.
Really?
Yeah, I continue my pioneering work for years and years after my solo career has been launched, up till 1991, around the time of the Dangerous Tour.
That's very interesting. Do you often wear disguises?
I do disguise for different reasons. I like to study people, be like a fly on the wall, even if it's just 2 old ladies sitting on a bench, because I don't know what it's like to fit in an everyday situation. One time, I was in a record store, completely disguised, and these girls were pulling out my album, talking all about me. I literally was next to them. It was wonderful. I loved it.
Did people ever realize that you were disguised?
Sometimes you can trick a guy quicker than you can trick a girl. Girls are very smart, you know.
May I ask why you left the Jehovah's Witness Church?
Well, there were a number of reasons.
Such as?
Well, because they can discriminate sometimes in the wrong way.
In what way?
Like Halloween. I missed out on Halloween for years, and now I do it. It's sweet to go door to door and people give you candy. We need more of that in the world. I cry behind my mask. I really do. The kids come, they open their bags, and they go, "Oh, look at that little one." And it's just so sweet, the way that they respond. That part of America I'm proud of.
Were there any church teachings that you disagreed with?
Sure.
Such as?
Like the story of Adam and Eve and the snake. I think that myth is very misunderstood. The snake may be the oldest victim of bad press.
That's interesting.
I remember having a problem with that story, even as a child.
Was it difficult leaving the church?
Absolutely. But I was comforted by the belief that God exists in my heart and in my music. And beauty, not only in a building, but I still miss the sense of community that I felt there. I could have really used their support in my darkest hour.
Can we talk about that?
Okay, we're going to stop here. If you want to hear more about the darkest hours of Michael Jackson, wait for the next video, which I'll be uploading part two of this video. But let me just briefly say what I have to say. Forgive me for the background, I have to do this. But let me just briefly say what I thought and what I think about this video so far. Well, so far, so good. I feel like Michael Jackson had a tough life growing up. There was nothing fun about his life. Basically, he missed out his childhood. So when he grew older, he was trying to have fun, the childhood fun that he actually missed out on. That is how much you screw up a child life when you take the child to a life of an adult and the child seek for that emptiness to be filled. You understand what I mean? So I feel like Michael Jackson went through so much. Like I said, he's a shy person, so who missed out on childhood. So he was just lonely and he became famous. And when you become so famous, it's really hard for you to actually mingle with people. He grew up not having friends. I kind of just picture that because he never had a childhood growing. It's through that childhood you get to make friends that you keep. And then you become a star and famous person. You can literally not get a friend. All you get is colleagues and people trying to just be friends with you because you were Michael Jackson, so obviously king of the pop. So he didn't actually have that kind of my best friend kind of thing. I don't think he had that because he was never there. Perhaps his elder brothers could fill that role, but trust me, nothing else as sweet and as beautiful as having your age mates friends, not someone who is like 6 years and years older than you. You just need that body kind of energy. So yeah, he missed up at all those things. So it's like, yeah, crazy. So I'm just gonna stop here. Like I said, if you want to watch further of the information and on the video, all you need to do is subscribe to this channel and click on the notification button. All you need to do is subscribe to this channel and then ring the bell so you never miss a reaction. Okay, so that when I post in part two of this video, which you're gonna hear the darkest moment of Michael Jackson, you will get it. So until then, guys, don't forget there's a chili we have vlog link, and also if you want to also yes suggest a song, don't forget to click on the link on my bio and buy me a coffee. Buy me a coffee, and of course. If you cannot do just that, you can also email me on my email address and we discuss on how we can go about reacting to a video of your choice. And trust me, I will give the best reaction as I can because this is Chili React Vlog. All we do is react to everything reactable. So today, guys, keep the music alive. Bye.